All right, guys, it's Paul Singh, Market Speculator with the trade report for Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Let's start off with our profit taking in NAIL. You can see the huge pop here, and this kind of leads to the age-old question in profit taking. Do you take that nice profit that you've got, especially when it ramps up right after entry, or do you hold on and wait for that bigger target? So for us, we had talked about this range right in here being one potential profit target, another one being the high here around 150. And when I sent out the alert, I targeted an aggressive target at the top of the range here. But I was not expecting, while we did expect the inflation numbers would cause NAIL to pop, I didn't think it would be just a straight line like this that quick. We essentially entered here where it was already extended. Remember that too. I think I mentioned this when we entered, that we were a bit extended on the entry, but the fact that we had the catalyst, a very strong catalyst in inflation numbers and potential for rate cuts, and then the remount of the 50-day moving average, that we were willing to enter. And then you can see just a straight up shot from our entry around 106. It's at 128 now. We took profits around the 124s. I know some of you got out a little later. If you're still in it and questioning, one thing you could do is, we are at the top, essentially at this range here. You could take profits here, and if you break this range, you can always get back in. You can take partials. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of taking partials because your position sizing really decreases, and at that point you don't make as much of a profit. So I decided to take the profit here close to the top of the range, top of this initial range here. And hopefully, I do want to enter NAIL again. We get some consolidation or a pullback that allows for re-entry. So there's no real great answer on this. The other thing you could do is, especially now that it's at 128, you have a few points. What you could do also is say, okay, I'm going to raise my stop up to 121, 122, 123, see if it continues to run, or get myself stopped out, and you still get that really nice profit in there. So that's the NAIL position. Since we're looking at, that was the NAIL profit taking exit. And since we're on our positions here, why don't we start off with that. Target, another one that we like here. I think the entry was around 151, and we're sitting at almost at 154 now. We got a ways to go to hit the target, but still like this one a lot, and we don't have to worry about earnings for a while. And that's the key now with any entries, is you need at least a good 2 weeks before earnings, and usually you want a little longer than that. But we can play potential earning run-ups if they're 2 weeks out. ANF still hanging in there above the 50-day moving average. We want to get it to get up over the 9 and get to the top of the range, obviously. Uber, fantastic here. Like ANF, we allowed it to get to the kind of bottom of the range, which was essentially our entry. Our entry was in the 69 range here. It had popped to the top of the range, came back to our entry, and now has broken the range today. So really nice here. Entry was in the 69s. We're at 74.60. A few more points here, and we can think about taking profits. ERX looking good here. We really like the setup here. Obviously, we needed to run up here some. And then finally, FAS has been working nicely as well. We entered this one around 110, just under the range. Kind of an anticipation play of that breakout, and it worked out perfectly. We're sitting at 117 right now. Good spot here to move stop up to entry. So this is a really low risk in the sense that now we have essentially a win or a break even, which is a nice spot to be in. And if it goes up another 3-4 points, we can think about taking profit. So current positions looking really well. The market's looking strong. We talked about June seasonality, and that coupled with the inflation catalyst, we've had a nice run here in the market. You can see S&P slowing down, and I think we want it to slow down. It's getting extended here. If we look at RSP, we're continuing to see market breadth improving. Look at that. RSP has broken the high here when it was lagging for so long. So, the small caps and mid caps are taking the lead right now. And then if we look at the Qs here, consolidating, and that's what we expect when small caps and mid caps are essentially catching up to the bigger caps, and we see that really pronounced here in IWM. Look at that move in IWM. Just at the midpoint of June was sitting here at 197, and we've made a run all the way to 222 in the index, and getting very overheated. You want to be careful now if you're looking to add positions when the market is this overheated. I still may enter one now that we are out of nail, but you do want to be a little cautious and wait for the next kind of consolidation or pullback. And we have earnings seasons underway, so we're going to get a lot of earnings-based setups as well that can move outside of what the market is doing. Let's look at a few of the industries we know about financials because of FAS, but a very nice move here. And then here's the housing ETF SHB, obviously lock in step with our nail position here, 97 to 113. And then we can see energy here, looking good above the 50-day moving average, looks ready to make another run. Let's look at speculative tech. We went over our speculative list yesterday, and look at this improvement in ARK. ARK had really been lagging big tech as big tech was doing this. ARK was essentially in a downtrend or consolidating here, and a lot of the speculative tech stocks were doing that as well. But now we're getting that breakout here in this area as well. If we look at the IPO ETF, we see the same thing. So that's good. Retail here, big improvement in retail as well, which we've been expecting. All right, now let's look at some potential entries here. We want to see a pullback in Caterpillar. Let's look at some of those tech stocks. Here's DS. Looks really good here above the 200-day moving average. We have CrowdStrike here testing the 50-day, and all of these that we're going over today have room until earnings. Essentially any stock that has earnings in July, I didn't consider as a focus list stock. Here's Snapchat 8.1, which is my cutoff, and I like it here if in the coming days it gets back up over the 50-day moving average. There's potential for that earnings run up. If you see a little bit of strength in a stock and a good technical pattern, oftentimes you'll see a run up into earnings. DraftKings, this is what I'm considering for today. You can see the higher low here. We've got maybe not the best accumulation pattern, but we do have potential for an earnings run up. 8.1 is earnings. We could enter right in here today at 39.59. Maybe use about a 1-point stop. And if we target the top of the range here around 44, we're essentially looking at 3-1 or 4-1 on our risk. So good potential setup there. We do have to get out before August 1st. App above the 50-day moving average. This one doesn't have earnings till the 7th of August, so there's some time here, and looking to break to highs. So those are some of the tech stocks. Now let's go to retail and some of those other consumer discretionary areas. Here's ELF. ELF has been a nice trender, pulling back to the 50-day moving average. It has earnings on August 8th. I want to see it show strength at the 50-day moving average. We have EAT. Watch for a remount of the 50-day. We have a lot of time till earnings here on August 21st. DKS. We like this one here. I think it's decent where it is right now. TME, China internet stock, above its 50-day moving average. Be careful with the China stocks that have earnings coming up. Sometimes they report, they'll have a report date, but they'll either report early or they'll just announce some things that are going to be in the report early, and that can really impact those China stocks. RIVN, Rivian, we're waiting for a pullback here after the Volkswagen news, and then Boot, watch for the break to highs. So have some potential entries. I'm really considering DraftKings today, and then I would like to start lightening up here. So if we get a little pop in FAS, Uber, or Uber or Target, tomorrow or the day after, I will likely take profits, even if it's a little bit earlier than our profit target.